Clauses beginning with the word who can either be non-essential and set off by two commas, or essential with no commas at all. Typically, if the clause is non-essential, the focus of the sentence will be general, and if the clause is essential, it'll be a specific focus, for example, a specific group of people versus people in general. So both ways are grammatically correct, but only one will be correct when the context of the passage is taken into consideration. So let's look at some examples. The store where I work has a return policy I've always found amusing. Normally, customers have 1 year from the purchase date to return unwanted or defective goods. However, customers who make purchases on February 29th have 4 years to return their items. So the commas around who make purchases on February 29th imply that this phrase can be crossed out without affecting the core meaning of the sentence. However, in this case, this information is crucial to the sentence because it specifies which particular customers this paragraph is focusing on. So that means A is incorrect because the comma usage implies that the underlined portion is non-essential and it can be crossed out, but it can't. Now B is also incorrect because it only has one comma. Two commas indicate that a clause is non-essential, and no commas at all indicate that a clause is essential. Only one comma in this case is not an option. So C is also incorrect for the same reason, except it has its comma in a different place. Now D is our correct answer because its total lack of commas indicates that the underlined information is essential. So this choice also doesn't separate the subject from the verb. Okay, let's look at another one. The hexacopter, a lump of steel propellers and lenses, is both camera and flying machine. This contraption is revolutionizing the way news is reported. In the past, journalists who wanted to obtain aerial shots of events to accompany their stories were forced to rely on conventional helicopters, which often flew too high to capture detailed images. So, like we agreed before, we can either have two commas for a non-essential phrase, or no commas at all for an essential phrase. So we can quickly eliminate both B and C, because those choices only have one comma. So our current underlined portion implies that this phrase is non-essential, but when we read it, we see that it is essential to the core meaning of the paragraph, because based on the context, it's clear that the sentence isn't talking about journalists in general, which would make it non-essential, but rather about a specific group of journalists, those who wanted to obtain aerial shots. So since that information is necessary to define what type of journalist we're talking about here, no commas should be used because the information is essential to the paragraph. So D is our correct answer.